I'm going to reach down to this shoulder, and that gives him a little more twist right here. Now, I'm going to bring him a little higher and see about the gluteal again. But his facial expression says he's at the edge, and I'm kind of walking in and out. And I've had him over here for a little bit. I was rocking. It was pretty intense. I was getting some groans from him. I'm actually going to go right back to what I was doing before, and I'm going to roll him out into my holster, and I'm going to take his leg just a little bit more lateral again, the opposite direction, because he liked both. And you see how this hip comes along for the ride? Because I'm working his low back, but it looks like I'm working his legs. And do you like more up towards the shoulder there? That direction? It's like, I think he was going to say something like is a relative term. Yes. And then if I had somebody who was super tight, just an option, I can bring his leg out and down, and I could go right back to where I started. I'm just going to hop in and just rock him out for a second. This is also just to change my position because I'm not standing. I get to sit down again for a second. What's Denise having the greatest response to?
The hip stretches.
Do you feel that, Denise, in your low back?
Mostly my hip. Like,
and then does the hip feel connected to that low back pain?
A little bit.
There you go. I'll take a little bit when we're getting started. I'll take a little bit. I'm going to repeat the exact same thing on the opposite leg, almost the exact same thing. Joe is now dead, and I'm going to hook him into my holster and then very gently just kind of bring him over, and you'll see that other hip lift off and up the ground. See how much movement through his lumbar spine, this twisting? Because this stuff gets stuck, standing, sitting, not a lot of hip mobility in Western life. We don't even sit down on the floor comfortably. Again, just bring him up and over. He gives me the groan of success. And you see how his spine comes along for the ride? Because I'm just using his leg as a handle to mobilize his spine. This is just a handle. Then, just like before, I'm going to bring knee to opposite shoulder, and bring it over. And he likes this. He wants a bit more depth. So I'm going to hook in and then stand up so I can give him a little more pressure, maybe a little more stretch to the gluteal, which is like knee to opposite shoulder, more piriformis. And in his case, we've built him up, built him up, built him up. Then I'm isolating over here, superficial to deep, general to specific. And just like before, just going to unroll him, bring him back to center, and then come back into my hip because I'm going to bring him externally rotated now. This is all just moving him around to find out what we think helps him the most, what feels most effective and easiest for him. Then, in his case, just like before, I brought his knee on the opposite leg to the same shoulder, and he had a little bit more of a response. So I'm going to isolate here and just bring him up. And it's rhythmic. It's like I lean in and then back off.
You want more in
lean in and back off. And any of those movements, Denise, are there any specific ones that are like right there, that's my low back pain?
I don't know.
Doesn't quite get it? Does your low back bother you more when you sit or when you like walk around?
When I get up from sitting.
So let's try this. Go ahead and flip over for me. And then this is actually a good sort of transition. If we decide to manually go in through the abdomen, this is what he was asking for, because he was saying he wasn't having like real specific pain like in his low back, but he asked for this move specifically, and I create space with the clients to be able to request stuff. In his case, he wants me to lift his leg and bring him back up and over. This is more of a psoas stretch. It's lengthening that. I kind of, that's the tester, because I'm not putting any pressure. I'm not isolating. I'm just taking him through a range of motion. Right there. Too much in the lumbar spine there. And because he's giving me such good groans, I'm going to switch it just a little bit, because I'm going to put my foot right over the sacrum this time. A little more hip flexor than psoas. But he likes this, and essentially in my world was requesting it.
Yeah.
Does that feel like it's getting to your low back pain, Denise? And that's what I want. You see how much more she was like, that's it. So I'm going to take the isolation off and just rotate him a bit, because I can bring him sort of back and down, or I can bring him out and up. What if I rock you right here? And this is me improvising just based on what he just told me. Like, what is he doing to that poor man? Just because there was so much like a more extreme movement, I like that you went back into this, Gene. This is almost exactly how I handle stuff. Is like we did something more extreme, and then I back off and rock them. I do this all day, every day, just to soften him up again and get him used to being, letting go is good, softening. Then I'm going to switch to the opposite side. That was the one we stretched. And opposite side, almost exactly the same thing. Just going to lift his leg up, bring him up, back and over. Super stiff. I can tell the difference between this leg and what we just did.